Is it possible for a brand to win if you're not depending on influencers? The short answer is yes. But it's still true that influencer marketing continues to boom and global spend is projected to reach $33 billion this year. So it's no wonder why I've heard a few marketers say that on social media, people follow people. I would push that a step further and say people follow personality. And all that really means is that your brand, wherever they show up, needs to be able to deliver truly entertaining content. And I'm not making this up either. The narrative transportation theory suggests people become immersed in compelling narratives. Because of this immersion, they tend to engage less critically with the content before them, but might remember the overall story and even adopt beliefs and attitudes aligned with the narrative they've just witnessed. This is literally the average person's experience on social media today. People want to be entertained. It's why we spend hours and hours on the apps, and again, why brands are putting billions of dollars into influencer marketing. I fully understand how huge influencers have become, but that doesn't mean other forms of brand marketing are dead. The whole point of people follow personality is that brands can still keep an audience engaged even if they don't solely depend on influencer partnerships. Here are 3 reminders of how you can incorporate the people follow personality mentality into your content, and yes, one of them does include influencers. The first reminder is to become secondary. That's when a brand understands it's not always about them. Through the lens of influencers, this is when the brand will fit themselves into the world of the creator rather than the other way around. They don't extend their platform to someone else. They temporarily give it away. Fashion has done a really good job of embracing the concept of becoming secondary. This is because some brands have allowed influencers to retain creative control and build content that mirrors what they would already post on their own channels. One prime example of a brand that gets it? Loewe. Can you tell which of these videos is from the brand account or the influencer's page? No, and that's why these collabs are so brilliant. Loewe does handle social-first content really well, but they know they'll also get easy engagements by stepping to the side and letting an influencer with even more social clout bridge the gap between their audiences. By temporarily surrendering control to hyper-relevant creators with tons of personality, brands give themselves the chance of becoming more memorable in the current cultural conversation. The second reminder is getting into character. This is where you develop a fictional character which can be used as a driving force throughout all forms of branded content. I would say developing a character is a great exercise that pushes any marketer to think through different psychographics in order to create a character meant to humanize your brand. The best example as of lately is Duo, the Duolingo owl, but the industry that really crushes getting into character is insurance. And I know that sounds crazy, but just think about it. You've got Jake from State Farm, Flo from Progressive, Mayhem from Allstate, the Gecko from Geico, and the Aflac Duck. The insurance industry knows one of the best ways to have its messaging reach a wider audience is to show situational comedy with quirky, memorable characters. None of this is new either. I started working in social media back in 2011 and was inspired by Aliza Lick, who worked at DKNY.
So 2009, we're sitting around a team marketing meeting, talking about this newish platform called Twitter. It was the same timing as like Gossip Girl season 2. And I said, what if we just take a page from their playbook and make it like anonymous? We can create a character that can be represented by a sketch. No one has to know who this person is. And through the lens of PR, maybe we just call it like, I don't know, DKNY PR Girl.
When I ran social media for Project Runway, I totally used DKNY Girl as my inspiration when creating Runway's digital persona. Ultimately, creating a compelling fictional persona allows a brand to transcend their product and cultivate a relatable, engaging personality that resonates with audiences. The third and final reminder is to embrace the subversive. And when you do this, you position your brand in a slightly different way. You never want to lose the essence of who you are or what you provide, but it can be really fun to creatively expand your boundaries. For instance, if a digital-first brand can find a way to effectively bring themselves into the physical world, that to me would be an example of them embracing the subversive. They've basically challenged the status quo and popped up in an unexpected way. People's Brands and Things recently talked about how print isn't dead. They called out how Peggy Gou and Rihanna had branded newspapers at their respective pop-up events. Those were cute, but Hinge takes the cake. Last year, they put out a limited edition zine for their campaign No Ordinary Love, which was a collection of essays by some of literary's brightest voices. Zines have had a moment in recent history, so you could say this was easy on Hinge's part, but what makes it such a smart execution is that they wanted to talk to Gen Z and were totally inspired by Book Talk, a phenomenon fueled by that very audience. The only downside I saw with their print activation is that none of the writers featured in the zine were actually Gen Z. So I guess a secondary reminder of this core reminder is to make sure you don't leave out your audience and the work meant to speak to them. Okay, I hope these reminders were helpful in how you can infuse the people follow personality concept into your strategy. They might seem super obvious, but it's often the most obvious things we need to be reminded of. By the way, this is my first upload to this channel, so if you're watching, thanks. And if you found any of the video interesting, do me a solid by subscribing and sharing because I plan on uploading so much more. Bye.